Hello everyone. In this video, I want to talk about how you can create a simple run cycle animation for your character. The run cycle is relatively faster than the walk cycle, so I'm going to create the run cycle animation in 16 frames. Just like before, here I'm going to apply the same three principles that I worked on for the walk cycle. However, in the run cycle, the up and down movement of the body is much more than before, and also it's faster. What's more, the movement path of the foot controller is different. Without any further ado, let's start. Initially, I work on animating the body. I select its controller and open its position. Then I separate it. And I start animating the Y position. In the down pose, the body moves lower. I create a keyframe for it. In the up pose, it moves up. Then I make these two keyframes easy ease. And for the next up and down poses, I duplicate them. And to create a keyframe for the contact pose, I go to the second contact pose and create a keyframe and put it for the first and last contact poses. As you can see, the body should move like this. Okay, now it's time to animate in the X position. In the passing pose, I create a keyframe for it. And in the contact pose, the body should move a little forward. Then I copy the keyframes and paste them right here. Then I make them easy ease. Alright, now time to work on the rotation. In the passing pose, I create a keyframe for it and set it to 9. In the contact pose, I set it to 14. Then I make them easy ease and duplicate them for the next passing and contact poses. And to create overlapping movements, I move the keyframes backward. Then I loop them. Now let's work on animating the head. I open its rotation. In the passing pose, I create a keyframe for it, and in the contact pose, I set it to 7. I duplicate the same keyframes for the next passing and contact poses. Then I make them easy ease and I move them back just to create the overlapping movement. Then I loop it. Let me hide the arms and the left leg so I can focus on animating the right leg. I select the right leg controller and open its position and rotation. In the contact pose, I create a keyframe for its position and move it forward so the right leg would be completely stretched. I create a keyframe for its rotation. In the passing pose, the leg should be located in the back. And the rotation should be like this. In the contact pose, it should look like this. In the next passing pose, it should be like this. In the up pose, it should be here. And for the last contact, I duplicate the first keyframes. In the down pose, I move it lower a little bit and right here. In the contact pose, I move it back a little. Basically, we must create a path like this for the controller. In the up pose, it must be here. In the down pose, it should look like this. Okay, after doing so, I curve the path. Let's see how it turned out. I just have to change the rotation right here. Right here, the rotation should look like this. And over here, I rotate it like this. And also it should be up a little. Then I make them easy ease. I copy the keyframes and paste them for the rotation and position of the left leg controller. I unhide the left leg. Then I loop the keyframes. I move the left leg controller back so the last keyframes would be placed on the second contact. Well, let's go for animating the arms. Firstly, I make the arms visible. Then I select the right arm controller. Then in the FX control FK section, I create keyframes for the upper, lower, and goal. In the first contact, the right hand should be the opposite of the right leg, so I move it backward. In the next contact, I move it forward. And in the last contact, I duplicate the first keyframes and make them easy ease. Let's see what it looks like. In the first contact, I move it up a little. And for the overlapping movement, I move the keyframes like this. And then I loop the hand animation. I put the keyframes like this. Then I select these keyframes and then copy and paste them for the other hand. I select upper, lower, and goal and press Ctrl V and move them like this, so the left hand would be exactly the opposite of the right hand. Now let's work on animating the shadow. Alright, let's check what it looks like. Very well. I unhide the background layers and expand the work area to 2 seconds. And let's see how it came out. The animation of the right leg isn't looped, so I have to loop it. I do the same for the body. As you can see, the run cycle animation is done and everything is looped. Please don't forget to like this video and consider subscribing if you like more of these videos. And finally, if you want completely to learn rigging and animating the character by Duik Basil, and also to get acquainted with other Duik tools that are very useful in rigging and animating the character, I suggest you watch this video.